Hi everybody, it's Dee from Chicago, Ideology. Thank you very much for joining me today. I voted today. It is the local primary for my county, which is Alachua County in Florida, which hosts or is part of Gainesville. Gainesville is where University of Florida Gators are. And we live in an area that is primarily Republican out in the country. But in Gainesville, obviously, because of the college, it's very Democrat. Anyways, I've been working very hard for the past year, working in the Republican campaign committee for our both local as well as national candidates. And I have to say I was quite proud to see that there was quite a few people in front of us in line to vote and quite a few people behind us in line to vote, which I thought was amazing. It just goes to show that people are being more aware. The Democrats' term of woke, if you will, people are getting involved and they are going out and voting. And I was really impressed by the turnout from what I saw. And I asked the girl, the poll booth lady, whatever, and I asked if it was busy like that all day, and she said yes. And this was at probably about 2 o'clock this afternoon, which would be normally a quiet time. So it was really good to see that. But anyways, rewinding and I want to get back to how we got to that point. Okay, my husband and I have always early voted in Alachua County, which is up at a community center out in the middle of nowhere, but neither here nor there. So anyways, we did not know that exactly where to vote. So what I did is I pulled up Google and I asked Google polling locations, poll booth locations for Alachua County, Florida. And Google threw at me basically 12, 15 different websites of how to do mail-in voting, mail-in ballots. It took me going through 3 different pages of all these different websites to even find where polling booth sites are. So I finally found that main site for Alachua County poll booths, and I clicked on it. I entered my exact address, and it gave me the address of this community center where we always go and vote, which is great. So we get in the car and we go. And it's about probably 25 minutes from my house. And anyways, we get there, we went in line. They asked for an ID, valid driver's license or state ID, which was cool. I really did appreciate that. And there's a problem, and the screen pops up, and I verify information, and she says, "Oh wow, there's an issue." And I'm like, well, what's the issue? And she looks at the little piece of paper. It spits out this little piece of paper, and it says, "You're in the wrong location." And I said, "We always vote here." She says, "Well, we do early voting here, but your polling location is a different community center in town." I had no idea where I was even going. So the woman that was behind us, we had to walk out and we had to leave and we had to go somewhere else. And that's probably about another 20-minute drive, 15 minutes, maybe a little more than 15 minutes. But anyway, so now we're going across town. And this lady was kind enough to let me follow her because I had no idea where I was going. And anyways, we're driving and we're going through downtown Alachua, and now we're starting to head out a little bit. And all of a sudden she stops and she's turning into this, looks like a house. It's a brown house with this big wraparound porch and no paved driveway, no parking lot. You're parking in the grass, and like that's odd. But I trust her because she knew where she was going, so I followed her. So anyways, we park in the grass and we walk up, and the lady at the front door, I don't know her name, but I'll call her Matilda because she was just a really pleasant old woman who demanded that we turn our cell phones not just on silent but turn them off entirely, which is fine. But anyways, I asked her, I said, "Ma'am, why is there no American flag out front or anything saying that this is a polling place?" And she points off in the distance. She says, "Oh, there's that blue sign right there." And folks, I'm not kidding you. There was a blue sign on the corner past the location, this big, that said whatever precinct sign. Precinct 53 or whatever the heck. But a blue sign, metal sign like this big, which you can't see in my video, but not very big. And no American flag, no thing that said vote here today. Had I not followed that woman there, I would have blown right by it because it looked like a house. I had absolutely no idea that that's where we voted. But anyways, so here we are, and we go and we vote. And that part was easy, same as always. You know, you give them your ID and they take your information and you sign some stuffs and they give you your ballot and you vote. But anyways, I was just it was not easy. Had this happened, like let's say I was working full time and I had to take off, would do my lunch break, run and take a quick break from work, and there was nothing quick about it. Would have never happened. I would have went to the first place that the website told me to go to. First of all, like I said, it took me a couple minutes to even find the darn website, but when I finally did, it told me to go to the community center where I always vote. And that's based on where I live. So there's zero miscommunication there. I entered in my address and it told me to go to that community center and that's where I vote. And that's not where I was to vote. And I had to go somewhere else, and they told me where it was, and they gave me the address. But like I said, if I wouldn't have followed that woman, I would have blown right by it and had no idea, because there was absolutely nothing out front. No candidate signs, which I understand there's a rule, you can't have them in so many feet of a polling place, but usually they're like all over up until the exact little line where they tell you can't put any more. There's nothing at all. It looks like a house. So I was quite surprised. And the moral of the story is, they did not make it easy on us voting today. I don't know if that's intentional, but everything, if you Googled right now for your locations, whatever city, you live in, whatever, USA, small town USA, and you go Google polling places, it is going to give you pages and pages and pages about how to do mail-in ballots and absentee ballots and things like that. They're encouraging you, Google, whatever sites are encouraging you, including government sites, to not go and vote in person. And then when you do, like me, they put you on a wild goose chase. And again, maybe that's just here, but I just don't want you guys to get discouraged come November. I just want you to give you a heads up that this could be an issue. So find out in advance, and even if you have to call somebody, if they tell you whatever place you have to go to, whatever school, municipality building, usually call them and find out if that is for sure where you go to vote. Otherwise, like us, the website told us to go to that place, and then that's not where we needed to be. So they made it very difficult. And again, I don't know if it's intentional. I have no idea what's going on, but just be aware for November to know exactly where you need to go to vote, if you're going to do it in person, or if you're going to do it by mail, which they're really, really, really pushing, and they're pushing it hard, because it's easier to find everything about mail-in ballots, but nothing about where you vote in person. Just be aware, if you do plan on voting in person, that where you're going, and everyone needs to get out there and vote. Like I said, I was impressed. Thank you, everybody who has, listened to me and has registered to vote if they weren't already, or at least getting involved to at least research candidates, so you're making the right choice, because your local candidates are much more important than who sits in the White House. And people need to understand that. The president, if you hate the president right now, he's not the one ruining your life, okay? Well, first off, you are, but because you can't seem to get past that. But your local people those are the ones that control everything. Everything from your appraiser's office, like we just voted for a new property appraiser today, which will be on the ballot in November, but there's more than one person running. And it's very important. Your money, you get federal money. That's why the census is important that you fill it out, because your community that you live in, they get more funds based on population. And these politicians that we elect, we the people, most of them are just everyday people like you and I, but they want to make a change and they want things to be better for all of us. So those are the people that you really need to research, because your local political leaders, that affects you a lot more than who sits in the White House. So again, I encourage you to do your research. Don't listen to the smear campaigns on TV and the crap that you get in the mail. Do your own research. Get in your local communities on Facebook. People will debate and discuss things. Sometimes it gets really out of hand, but if they use bad language or whatnot, but sometimes you even want to know the bad about people's character. I'm not only about what they could do for me and make my life more enriched, but about their character, because I don't care how good they make things. If they're an awful person, then I'm not sure. I question their integrity of leadership, but I digress. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say, is just please be aware of all these things about voting, and just make the right choice based on your decision, not anybody else's, but your decision. So do your research and please vote. It's 100 years. This election is 100 years. Women have gotten the right to vote 100 years ago. That's less than double my lifetime. That's amazing. Women died fighting for women's right to vote. It's amazing. I'm not going to let those women die in vain. I'm out there. I vote in every election, every local one, every little primary. I don't care even if it's for a referendum. I vote. I have a voice, and I want it to be heard, and so should you. So get out there and vote. Have a blessed day. Thanks for listening to Ideology.